Hello, and welcome to an episode of Spotlight Authors Edition. I am your one of your hosts, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, Kinte, and I'm joined by Jen. How you doing, Jen?
I am phenomenal. You forgot to say I'm all the way live from Hawaii.
You know what? Okay, this is the reason why I didn't say it because
Hawaii.
I don't want people to feel so bad that they're not in Hawaii.
Hey, haters gonna hate. You just
That's true.
That is
gotta
true.
you just gotta put it all out there on the line. And I'm doing really, really, really good. So I feel very blessed today to be with the guests that we have, and also um, I also feel extremely blessed that both of them have now seen my most favorite movie of the past 10 years, Sinners. Just had
Oh,
to
that's your
throw
most
that in
favorite.
there.
Wow.
Yes, yes. Out
Yes.
of the 10 years that I've been
Wow.
watching, and I've seen a lot of movies. Yeah, so I'm super excited. After the show is over, we'll have to have another discussion about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right. So normally the show is hosted by myself and Renee, but today Renee gets to be a guest because she is one of the subjects of this episode. So let me introduce first. We'll start off with Renee. How are you doing, Renee?
Oh, great. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Now you are joined by someone who looks very similar to you.
Hmm.
Has a very similar house. Wow. Uh, I'm gonna let you introduce the person you're with.
Well, this is none other than my lookalike, my identical twin, Michelle.
The older
It is
twin.
the older twin by
The
two
older
minutes.
twin.
By 2 minutes. That's Michelle.
Hello.
All right, Michelle and Renee. Now, French.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Right. I remember one time I was talking to Renee and she says, she's only 2 minutes older than me, and then I asked her, I said, would you like to be tortured for 2 minutes?
Right.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So she said,
Yeah. When you put it that way, yes.
Also,
yeah.
if I could interject something, the picture of you guys on the back cover is so cute. The
Oh,
picture,
Aw,
the twins
thank
picture, it's so cute.
you.
thank
Thank you.
you.
So if you think that we're kidding, you should look at the back of the book and you'll
Yes.
see that it's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, once before, Renee and Michelle did a
Mhm.
podcast where we talked about them being twins. We had another
Mhm.
set of twins on as well who were also identical. And maybe I'll put a link into that for that episode if you guys want to see that. But for some people, this is the first time that you guys have been on the show, so we'll talk briefly about you guys' background. So we'll start off. We'll start off with Michelle. So where do you ladies come from? Where were you born, and where you guys grew up at?
Sure. We were born in Washington, D.C., and we grew up for 2 years in Landover, Maryland, and then moved to Burtonsville, Maryland when we were about two or three. And that's where we graduated high school. Then, we went off to college to what used to be Villa Julie, but now it's Stevenson University in Pikesville, Maryland. And then
Okay.
from there, we both attended UDC, University of District of Columbia. We played tennis on scholarship. Um, and then outside of that, I have two children. Um, and then eventually earned my bachelor's in psychology and master's in business administration.
You,
And
I
currently
gotta
work.
call you. I gotta call you out.
Why?
Uh,
You said you only have two children. You have three.
Well, my doggy Mia.
Shame,
she's
shame,
gonna cry.
Sorry,
She's
Mia.
gonna cry.
shameful. The favorite. The favorite. Really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the favorite.
The one
Mia.
who's gonna inherit it all, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Poor Mia. I'll come
She's
pick
gonna,
her
she's
up.
gonna she's gonna inherit that house behind
Uh,
her. Okay. Real quick, Renee. You guys grew up in a place called Burtonsville. Kind of
Yes.
describe Burtonsville.
When we were growing up, it was mostly um it was more like fields, grass,
mhm,
animals,
mhm,
and more spread out. But now, if you go there now, like I think the first time I went back, I don't know it's been a while now since I've been back when they built it up, and I missed the exit that I would usually get off just because of how they changed everything. So, yeah, now it's I guess more commercial now, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It's a lot of businesses, and not far from downtown Silver Spring. If a lot of people know Silver Spring.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up on a farm?
No, but we grew up near a lot of farms. That's what most of it was, like farms all over Montgomery County in Maryland. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys are the youngest of 4, right?
On our mom's side.
On the mom's side.
Yeah, our dad has 3 sons also, but we are the babies for everybody.
Yeah.
And the only
Big
girls.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge family.
And the only girls and twins.
Yeah. So
You have 2 sets of twins? There's 2 sets of twins in your family?
Well,
Did
no,
I get that
I was
right?
saying the only girls of our siblings.
Oh,
So and the babies, and we're twins.
Yeah.
But we have other twins in our family. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
yeah, you have your nephews are twins,
Timothy and Jason, yeah.
and they
And
are
then-
fraternal twins, so they don't
Mhm.
they don't look alike.
Yeah.
Correct.
But we do see some of the twin similarities. Like some things they do. We would ask our brother, "Did we used to do that?" He said, "Yeah." So some stuff you can. It's kind of a twin thing. And our oldest nephew Raymond has 5 boys, and his youngest 2 are twins.
Mm-hmm.
And they
my
were
gosh.
they were conjoined, right?
They were conjoined, yeah, and they were separated on their first birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you can't tell by seeing them. Right?
Not now.
Oh,
You would
yeah.
never know. They,
Wow.
just jump off everything. Just like the other boys. So yeah, you would never know. Now.
You
Oh
guys
my
are
gosh,
you
that's a
guys
crazy story.
Yeah.
you guys are kind of conjoined. You guys are joined at the hip, right?
Yeah, we
Of
are.
course.
Okay, so before we get into you guys writing, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about what are some misconceptions about being a twin or having a twin that you guys constantly are bombarded with.
One is that everything is exactly the same. Like we don't have our own individual personalities. Like
Oh, right, like your backgrounds.
Yeah.
Well,
Right. Yeah, like
Right.
our houses. I mean,
hers
You're
is on
not
the
doing
left.
anything for your case here.
Well, her camera's on the left and mine's on the right. So,
yeah, so we're opposite. And we are mirror twins. So I'm left-handed, she's right-handed. But yeah,
Oh,
I was
there
gonna
you
say
go.
the same
Okay.
thing that
yeah.
most people say. If Michelle does one thing, why didn't you do that? I'm like, because I didn't do that. I'm me. I'm not Michelle.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we have done a lot of stuff together and
Yeah.
identical things, but we still are 2 different people.
Mhm.
So if Renee gets smacked, does Michelle feel it?
Well, we did have something similar when Renee broke her ankle. When they were either giving her medicine or something, I could kind of feel
Oh,
what they were
no.
doing.
Yeah.
And then I think when I broke my
When she
finger,
broke
when
her
we were
finger,
like 5th
same
grade,
thing.
same thing. So, and then we share like same thoughts. Sometimes we finish each other's sentences. Sometimes we show up to the same location in the exact same colors or outfit, not playing. So just depends.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask about that because a lot of the twins that I've known had or have still, but it's just very subtle now. But when they were younger, they had kind of their own communication style, their own little language or their own way of communicating with each other, which is way outside of everybody else's. But the twins got it. They understood it.
Yeah.
Did you guys
we
have
still
that
do
too?
that. And we still do that now. Like we can look at each other and we know we're thinking the same thing, or we can kind of say a few words and we'll start laughing. Everybody's looking like, what's so funny? What's the twin thing?
I remember I asked Renee very early on. I said, "How do you know you're Renee? Because when you were babies, how did you know how did your mother really know which one was Renee, which one was Michelle? You guys could have went back and forth like 80 times until you guys were able to communicate the difference." So, but you said your mother had a way of telling y'all.
Well, she said if we were facing forward, nobody could tell us apart, but on the side, because of how our ears go, then she could tell the difference. So, but that was with everybody, because we said when our grandmother and our aunt used to babysit us, and she would come pick us up, I would be, happy. Michelle would be crying every time and said, I think we may have only fed one.
They didn't know.
They said they always mix us up, so they didn't know. But Michelle was always crying, and I was just like, hi.
You were content.
I was like, woo.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Trina.
Trina.
Hey, Trina. Trina is in the chat. Okay, so you guys both play tennis
Hmm.
Yes.
as well as are artists and writers.
Hmm.
Um, so talk about let's first start. Let's talk about a little bit about your tennis playing. Um, you guys both came to tennis around the same time.
Yeah, we were it's like 7 or 8, and our mom put us in tennis camps.
Mhm.
And that's where we first, started playing, and then we really enjoyed it and just continued all the way through high school and college, and even now today.
Would you guys consider yourselves very competitive?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, we're competitive, but I think a lot of it is our family because our family is very competitive. Even down to our nephews who, oh, okay, Chase can learn. Our nephews, who the twins who play basketball, they compete one on one in their backyard, and try to beat each other. So no matter what we're doing, we're competing, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So you guys played in college as well,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and and then you guys, I think, um, if I remember correctly, Michelle took a break, or no, you
Hmm.
guys both took a break, right, for a while.
Well,
At
I did,
different points.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did
And then,
first when I had my son,
all right,
my
yeah.
firstborn Devin,
Hmm.
and then had my daughter a few years later, and then eventually, then some point in time between there, Renee took her break, and
Hmm.
then
I
we,
think it's like 2002 or so. I
yeah,
took a long break, and then
Wait,
around 2010 we came back. And
wait a minute, you weren't playing at 9 months?
thank you. High five for that.
yeah. So met our old tennis coach, and he had a tennis league for 18 and over in Washington D.C. And then we said, yeah, we'll play, and we've been playing ever
From
since.
there. Hmm.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Now you guys are both artists as well. What age did you guys start dabbling in arts?
No, we were both probably a little older. Our dad used to draw all the time, so
Yeah.
like that's
Hmm.
what started me. He would
Yeah.
do like draw little cartoon characters like Snoopy and Garfield or whatever. So, I know we were probably 8 or 9, maybe a little younger. And he always
Hmm.
kept these little notepads around the house, so
Yeah.
and pencils. So we were just that's kind of how it started.
Hmm.
And your mother,
Hmm.
Hmm.
she is quite an athlete herself.
She
Yeah.
is.
Can you tell a little bit about your mother and her athletic prowess?
She plays softball. Well, she plays senior Olympics, so she's done softball, tennis, pickleball, shot
Shot
put,
put, track and
some
field.
track and field events. Because
Wow.
softball is her main sport, and
Is
she's
it
done that. I don't know how many years, but she's a 4 or 5 time Hall of Famer in like the senior games.
is
She's
it
been
okay
in.
to say her age?
Yeah,
Sure. She's
she's
80.
86.
Yes. So
Yeah,
how old will we be?
yeah. She had us when she was 40.
Yes.
So, so she's played in Japan, Canada, I think, and then but she has like a traveling team from Colorado called the
Hmm.
Peaches. So, whenever she travels, she usually plays with them.
And
But
that's
she's playing
currently.
now.
That's currently.
That's now at
At
86.
86 years old. And
Yeah.
she drives to her tournaments if she can or flies, but she
Hmm.
prefers driving. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes, and
she's
she's a
still,
Hall of Famer too.
yeah,
she is.
yeah. She's the bomb.com.
Yeah.
So shout out to
Nice.
mom.
Hmm.
Carmen Campbell.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's really cool. All right, and then you also have a brother who's a avid bowler in the Hall of Fame in his own right.
He's a Hall of Famer also. Yeah, Norbert. He was. It was a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, he got the white coat, white jacket, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gave his speech. So.
So yeah, you got all the sport. Your brother's
My
golfer.
brother Tim, he's a golfer. He plays basketball too, but he's the golfer. So we
Yeah.
kind of cover all sports.
Mhm.
All right. So let's get into writing. When did you guys start writing?
We've always been writers, but it wasn't until we were older, maybe in our 30s or so, when we started um, getting together to write books or
Mhm.
stories, and then they can, we should publish these.
And now for me, I was in third grade. Like my favorite teacher, I did an essay Um, I don't remember the title or the topic, but she submitted my essay, and I won the President's Award for writing. So that's how I knew I must be good at this, pretty good. So
Mhm.
yeah, but like Michelle said, when we were older, she was actually our first story. Have you ever? She started writing, and then
And it
we kind of
wasn't to
finished it together.
write it, turn it into a book, but
Hmm.
I, shared it with Renee, and then she said,
Hmm.
"Oh, we should make this a book," and then that was all we wrote.
Yes, yeah, I illustrated the pictures, and then yeah, so that was
Mhm.
our first book.
What?
Right. So now we're gonna get to your current book that is out, Buzzie B. But
Mhm.
what was the first book that you guys produced together and
Have you
published?
ever?
And
And it
describe
was
that.
so it's kind of like it was just like fun little questions. Have you
Mhm.
ever seen um a bee as big as your nose? It's funny that it had a bee in it also.
Yeah.
Would you um
Hide
would
from a
hi-
stinger.
or spray it with a hose? So it was like cute little rhymes. It had animals or different things in it, and
Yeah.
or different characters. And we said once we published it, it was just like fun little questions, to children. Have you ever done this? Have you ever thought about this? But it kind of just to keep their imagination going, and
Mhm.
you can be whatever you want to be. But yeah, that was our first one, and we said the characters in that book. We said we probably would turn each character into a separate book.
Mhm.
So then we got Buzzie Bee.
All right.
Wow.
All
Hmm.
right. And then you also did another book, How to
Hmm.
Act
How
in
kids
Church.
should
How kids.
act in church, and we put the act in quotes because a lot of times in church when children are little, they maybe they can't sit through a whole service for 2 hours or whatever.
Mhm.
They get a little wild, or they talk, or whatever. Sometimes they have snacks. And sometimes you'll get that certain people will look at the parents like, can you control your children or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and we were talking to our choir director one time because there was a family there, and some of the kids had challenges.
Mhm.
And some of the church members would make faces or whatever.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how we started that book. And she said, you guys should write a book about this. So it was kind of, um, don't judge people. Just
Yeah.
let them, like they say, come as you are. Everybody's welcome. And even if somebody has challenges, don't treat them like they shouldn't be here.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's more when we put the act, how kids should act in church is more for everybody. Everybody's, could act better, or, be more welcoming and more friendly.
Mhm.
Hi, Tyrone.
Hi.
Hi, the best nephew.
The best nephew. Oh.
Oh wow.
Oh, yay, Trina.
All right. All right. All right. So all right, let's get to Buzzy. How did Buzzy come about?
Well, like Renee said, from Have You Ever, one of the pages or characters was a bee.
Hmm.
And like we were explaining, in that picture, the bee had a really big stinger
Hmm.
versus, bees are small, but, people are scared of them. So if the stinger was really huge, how would you act or react? And then, we were looking at all the other characters in the book, and it just happened. We were writing one day, and the bee is just the character we chose, and we just continued to write from there. And I think we went through a few iterations of what should the story be, and then it
Mhm.
B. But then at some point we came to the way the story is today. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, we had our twin nephews actually who are 10. Um, we had them read it, and then they said, "Okay, this is good," but so they kind of gave their
Hmm.
perspective, and then Michelle's daughter, whose name is Renee, she's a lefty like me. She read it, so she read it all the way through, and she said, "Oh, maybe you should move this page here, move this line here," and then she gave some suggestions also. So we probably changed it maybe 5 or 6 times
Yeah,
until where we said this is done.
this is it.
And I know I finished all the illustrations, and
Hmm.
we said this is done And then we read it again and we said, no, it's not done yet.
That's not
So
done.
it took a while. So it
Yeah.
is a process.
Yeah.
Now, the the one thing that I love about your book is there's a lot of great visuals. If you don't mind, can you show the audience
Sure.
the cover?
Sure.
Look at that.
It's Buzzie Bee Go Away. Let me see. Jen told me how to hold it.
There you
See if I
go.
can do it right.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit down.
Yeah, a little
Over
bit.
your green shirt is exactly that. There you almost got it.
Right
There,
there.
that's it.
Right there.
Okay, hold on.
You had to freeze.
Okay, there you
Don't
go.
breathe. Don't breathe.
Right.
But yeah, Buzzie Bee Go Away. And actually we have a activity book also. Let me see if I can move this
Oh,
one.
now
Maybe
you're
I'll take my
totally
background out.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my background out. That may help.
Now we're no longer twins.
I know, no twin background.
But here you go. But then you
Oh,
can
there you go.
clearly see.
go.
There you go. So
All
Buzzie
right.
Bee Go Away, and then Buzzie Bee's Activity Corner.
Ooh,
Yeah, so I can
nice.
show you some of the inside.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
Yeah, and I just turned to a few pages, but we got it where it's a young black boy with his dad, and they're in the playground. So the whole thing takes place in the playground, and they're just together having the fun in the playground. And
I
there's
love
a
the art
bee.
style.
Thank you. And there's a bee that's there, and the son is named DJ. So he just and actually when we were doing it, we thought about the name for him.
Yeah.
And I said, well, her son is Devin Jamal. And I said, and we call him DJ. So I'm like, he's DJ. I don't know why they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just worked out that way. But he wants to be friends with Buzzie. And the dad's like, no, Buzzie Bee go like chasing him away. So
Because he's
that's
a bee
kinda-
and he'll sting
yeah.
you.
Yeah, and then the activity book. Oh, and I'll show you the picture that Jen was talking about on the back.
Oh yeah, there we
Aw.
are.
Of
Our
the
little
twinsies.
twins. Hey,
Oh.
twinsies.
And then the activity book, Buzzie Bee's Activity Corner. It's just different fun little, and there's a page at the beginning this book belongs to, and you put your name, and then I'll show you a few things. You can write a little story, count. Help
And it's
Buzzie
a
get to the hive, tic-tac-toe. And a lot of these were just based off when we would be with our nephews. And they, how you go to a restaurant, they give you the children's the
pages.
crayons and
The
stuff.
menu, yeah.
Yeah. So then they could just certain things that they like to do. I was like, oh yeah, they always like to do activities. So yeah,
We
so it was kind of no brainer. Why don't we just do an activity book?
Yeah.
I love
Right.
it.
Thank you.
Now, what are the suggested ages?
For this one, we said, I think we did age.
Up until 5th grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like our first book, Have You Ever, was more like pre-K kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but this book is more like 3rd to 5th grade or 2nd to 5th grade. Or everyone, Jen, you, everyone's gonna like.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna.
Well, adults like to do activities, so there's coloring pages in there. You can color.
Yeah.
It's called being forever young.
Yeah.
You never outgrow kids'
Thank
Yes.
you.
and you
Hi.
never outgrow them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So, will we see any more adventures of Buzzie?
That's a good question. It was funny. Kids ain't never talking before, and it was kind of. I don't remember what about Buzzie we were talking about, but then I said like when we were little, we had books where it was kind of choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And so we said, oh, we may do something like that, and maybe a series where it starts out one way, and then at some page you have two options, and if you want to Buzzie to go this way, turn the page. But if you want him to go this way, then turn to page 40 or whatever it is, and then it's a different adventure. So,
Nice.
yeah.
I like how you already have 40 pages in there because
I know, right?
that's a good amount for Buzzie.
I'm a writer. You just can't stop writing.
Now, what was the toughest thing about creating Buzzy, or was there? Or was it pretty
Mm.
smooth?
I don't know if it was tough, not
Mhm.
tough, but just you get to a point and we're like, oh, we're done, like Renee said earlier, but then you read it or you give it to someone else to read it and we're like, or after we finish we're ready, we take a break, we may move on to another idea and come back and we're like, no, let's change this.
Yeah.
Or we just have an idea that pops up, so we change that. So what, not really hard or anything, just getting to the finish line and knowing. And then how they'll say, like, when people paint, you'll keep playing around. Okay, let me add one more brush stroke, let me take this off, add this color, and then like some point you have to stop. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Renee was working on it,
Mhm.
and I mean, working on it constantly. I'm on the images and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I always joke with Renee is that
Mhm.
she is a good user of time. Like
Mhm.
Thanks.
if she was in a if she was stuck
You
in an
never say trapped
elevator.
in the elevator.
Yeah, if you were trapped in an elevator for like 3 hours, she had like 8 books finished.
Yeah, you
You
Well,
know.
know,
that's why you either keep you have your notes on your phone,
Yeah.
or if you have a little notepad with you, jot stuff down. So
Mhm.
most of like the writing we would start with on our phone, or we'll create an email and then send it to each other.
Mhm.
And then the other person will respond and say, okay, let's add this. So sometimes it's just us emailing each other back and forth, and we always have
Yeah.
our phone. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So I one thing that I noticed about the and again I just go back to the art style. The
Mhm.
kids in my family are extremely art forward.
Okay.
I, however, still draw stick figures, so I am
That's
this
Mhm.
is this is just my this is what I see. But
okay.
as somebody who used to be an early childhood educator, one of the things that I really
Mhm.
appreciate about this is the big block style in the illustrations,
Yeah.
because this is exactly what especially primary kids are drawn to the most.
Oh
And
yeah.
also, if you go to that page again there, that's actually a really good one. This is exactly the way that kids often see the world. They do not see the world with these like super
Mhm.
everything looks like it is exactly the way it is. It
Yeah.
looks rendered.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that is absolutely beautifully from
Thank
the
you.
perspective of
Thank you, babe.
the way that a kid would see things. Even the distance ratio, like the way that you see something
Mhm.
when it's far away and it looks small
Mhm.
to a kid,
Yeah.
sometimes it looks so tiny
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you kind of wonder, like, well, how did they miss that? That's exactly why.
Yeah.
And secondly, I love the color palette. The
Mhm.
color
Thank you.
palette is really gorgeous. It
It
looks
is.
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
amazing, Whitney.
Oh, you are too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like speaking, like jumping on what you were saying, a lot of what we did while we were writing this, because if we look at the illustration from Have You Ever to this book, is quite different. And
Mhm.
then I think either when we were together or maybe separate, Renee was looking up different ways to illustrate. We either went to the bookstore to see how other children's books might be illustrated,
Mhm.
books that we like or books we know our nephews like. So it was a lot of research, not just writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did a great job.
Excellent
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.
Yes. And even me as an adult, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
You did.
So I really got into it. Like
You did.
yeah, I was reading
Yes,
it like like I was a young person. So even
you
if you're
are.
an adult, well, yeah, that's true. I didn't want to say that, but yeah.
Now, wait, there is a difference between immature and young. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just mentioning that
Oh.
that's a thing.
Oh wow, love it.
No, we know that that's not Kinte.
Sometimes I can be, sometimes I can't be. But no, it's excellent. And
Thank
There,
you.
even
there's
if,
so much on the market right now for kids books that
Oh
is
yeah.
that kind of diffused
Mhm.
art style, which,
Yeah.
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous and it can be really really nice, but because it's so diffused, it is difficult, I think, for especially younger kids to get a really clear idea of what the subject in your
Mhm.
drawing is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And every single page in your book has such a beautiful, like I said, that block style, that very like, hey, it's kind of like when you diagram a sentence, but visual.
Oh
Because you
yeah.
can really see exactly what you're supposed to see on every single page.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny when we were last year, right after we finished it and we had it ready, to publish. We had the proofs. We ordered copies of the proofs just so we could see it, in our hands and read through it. We were at the train station, waiting for our train to go on vacation, and our nephews were with us. And the Timmy and Jason, the youngest one, Jason said, "Is this your book? Can I read it?" I said, "Yeah." So he read the whole thing. He's like, you should sell this book. And I said, "Oh, it's a hit. It's good. Okay." So that's how we knew it was
good. That is so funny.
Yes, he is.
That is
and they are critics, so he would have told us.
Yeah, kids will tell you straight.
Yeah.
Kids will tell
oh
you
boy,
straight.
do I know.
Poor Kinte.
Yeah, I know they are definitely critics. But it's all good though. Okay, so you said that we will get more Adventures of Buzzie, but what are some of the other projects that we should be on the lookout for from you guys? Because I know you have one about a clown, right?
Yeah,
Chuckles the clown, Freddy Frog. So, and both of those characters were
in my first book.
in our first book. Have you ever? And we actually have been working on a novel. So. And that's probably, I don't know how long we've been writing that, but we finished it. We said, "Oh, this is done." And then one of our other church members, she wrote actually a twin story, and she sent it to. She said, "Oh, can you just read through it?" And I said, "Oh, you really captured the twin perspective." So she did good. But then when we were done, we sent her our first copy of the novel, and then she said, "Well, it's pretty good." She said, "But you want to ask yourself, but why? Like, well, why are they doing this? Why are they at this place? Why are they saying this?" And we said, "Okay." So we started from the beginning, the first page, and every sentence we were asking, but why, we were like, we got to keep writing. So I think that was probably the most frustrating, I guess, for the novel.
That would be hard.
Yeah, because we thought we were done. We just knew we were done. Yeah. And then once we started asking that question, I'm like, oh, well, we need more detail. Yeah. So yeah.
That will be interesting when that comes out, because that is not for children, right?
No, it's more. Like, I don't know. It's probably adult. Yeah, I mean, I would say more maybe late teens, but any adults. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first was going to write a novel, a friend of mine who is a novelist, she does these character sheets, where it's like, and she shared them with me, and I started to, take my characters and put them through the character sheets, and it was like, what kind of food does he eat? I don't know. Like,
Oh yeah.
It was so detailed. Like, what was he like in high school? And I'm like, dang, do I gotta know all of that?
You're not even talking about high school in the book.
Right. I know. I was like, I don't know, man. This writing ain't for me. if I got to come up with all that. And I remember I finished one for one character, and I was so tired after that. I was like, man, I don't know. But yeah.
Oh wow.
I a long time ago, back in the I want to say like in the early 90s, maybe late 90s. I can't remember exactly when. I came across this writing software called Dramatica. And Dramatica is this whole story system that is, by the time that you're done with Dramatica, you don't even have to write the book. It's written for you because it's so detailed. And just like Kinte was saying, like, okay, so off the top of your head, what is Buzzie's favorite soda?
Root beer.
That's ours.
There you go. That's and like when you know everything about a character, that totally makes I think that totally makes the character believable, because even if you don't have to write it, you know it. You know.
Yeah.
Buzzie likes root beer.
What's Buzzie's favorite movie of all time?
Sinners.
Good answer. Good answer.
I like Buzzie. That's great. That's great. And, now, have you guys ever done National Novel Writing Month?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
'Cause
Uh,
we
w-
submitted. Was that where we submitted a short story?
No, no, that was when we were working on a novel one of the
Okay.
years. We just said we didn't finish.
Yeah.
They have a goal for you to. I don't know if it's 50,000 words or whatever it
Whatever
is.
it is. Yeah.
But we did write every day, so at least we
Mhm.
did meet that goal because we just said we want to make sure we're always writing. Always
Okay.
creating something. We have
Yeah.
tons of ideas and books that we've started, um, which is good because we'll never run out of ideas, and we'll always have something to work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have done that before. We didn't finish the
Mhm.
goal of to have your book, I guess, done to publish then,
By
but we
that
have done it before.
deadline. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's
Um.
aren't
Yeah.
they
Go ahead.
closing down now?
I think so. Yeah, the
Yeah.
last
This
time.
year. I think this
I
year is
think
the
so.
last year
That'll be
that
the
they're
last
doing
year.
it.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
I
you
didn't
got it
know
right.
that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
like
don't
an
know if
They,
it's just
they've
not
had
as
20
popular.
years. They've
Yeah,
had 20
yeah, they've
years.
been
I
around
mean,
a long time.
they have
yeah.
absolutely launched the careers of many
Mhm.
aspiring writers.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So kudos to them.
Didn't the 50 Shades of Grey woman come out of that?
Oh, really?
I don't.
Something
You might
like
have.
that, although basically Twilight, it was fan fiction from
Mm.
Twilight. So a
Mm.
little bit
Okay.
different, but kind of around that same thing. Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Honey. That should be the next. That
What,
should be the next
Buzzie? Oh.
Buzzy Part 2.
I don't know if the world is
Now
ready for
that's
it.
not for children.
And also Renee, I would have to give you a lot of props for being able to illustrate that because I don't think I could.
Don't give me a challenge. We told you we're competitive. I like
Yeah.
a challenge.
All right. Well, ladies, like I said, I'm a big fan of your work, and I am so excited that you have this on the market right now. And
Yes.
the goal, obviously, is to get you guys out there in front of audiences with your book, because to me, it's like crack; it'll sell itself.
Mhm.
So you don't have
How do
to
you
worry
know
about that.
crack's like?
Well, no, I know that you don't sell crack; you just
Oh, okay.
offer it. You
But
offer
there's
it.
no crack in the book, folks. No crack.
Yeah,
No
but he
crack
doesn't
in
do
the
crack.
There's honey in there, but not.
Yeah.
But no, this book is fantastic, and I'm
Thank
very
you.
proud of you, young ladies,
Thank you.
and looking forward to what you guys have coming up next. And yeah, I'm very happy about that.
Renee and
Yes.
Michelle, where can you find the book? How can people get it?
Oh, it's right now available on Amazon. You can always reach out to us, and we have plenty of copies. We can sign them. But yeah, it is. They are all the books. Buzzie Bee Go Away is available in hardcover and paperback, and then
nice.
the activity book, Buzzie Bee's Activity Corner, is paperback.
Now, what if somebody wanted a signed copy? How can they get that?
Reach out to us. A twin thing. That's a twin thing productions. But yeah, a twin thing. We're on Instagram. A twin thing productions at Gmail. Facebook, Instagram. I think every social media. But yeah, you can reach out to us and we can send you a copy because we have plenty of copies available.
I believe Tyrone is John, my nephew John.
Oh, is that Tyrone?
I'm pretty, yeah.
Hello,
I'm pretty
Ty John.
50 Shades of Honey. Don't give any ideas, please.
Yes. All right. So how can we get you ladies on social media? If we want to know about some of the other things you're doing, like your art sales and all that, same thing.
So yeah, Instagram. We're a Twin Thing Productions, but also for me, Renee Danielle Designs, and then RDC Art by Design. And
then for me, the number 1 spelled out, creative with the A as a number 8, Chick, CHIC, and then that's on whatever platforms you find me on.
And then will we see you ladies playing on the tennis courts anytime soon?
Yeah, we have a match this Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
Who's gonna win?
We are.
Of course.
Our tennis team is called the Vicious Volleys.
Yeah.
So it was organization started about what 10, 15 years
15.
ago.
15 years ago.
Yeah, by Jeanette Logan. She's captain, CEO, and
My nemesis. My nemesis.
that's a story for another day. But yeah, we played throughout the entire year, indoor, outdoor, winter, summer, spring. Generally beat all the teams, and then travel to the different competitions in Virginia, sometimes in Florida, depending on where the competitions are held. So.
And everybody knows when they see the Vicious Volleys that we wear black, gold, and white, so they know. We don't even have to say anything. They, people know us. I've gone to restaurants and had the uniform on, and people know the Vicious Volleys. I know y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
sometimes it's a warm welcome. Sometimes it's a we know.
But that's okay. We don't mind that. That just means we're vicious.
All right. So Jen,
we'll be cheerleading for you guys.
Thank you, Jen.
Yes. So Jen, how can we get you?
You can find me over at my website, moviesandmeals.com. And as always, you can always find me at some place in a satellite orbit around Kinte. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And for our next episode,
you, Kinte?
I'm gonna get to that. For our next episode, Renee will be going back to the co-host chair, and but you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter it's X now, and you can get me at Kinte Ferguson on Instagram, and we'll be back with another episode of the Authors Edition. You guys have a great rest of your week and enjoy your weekend.
Get your copy.
Get your copy.
Get your copy, and God bless.
God bless.